I'm joined here with the police commissioner from the city of Yonkers, Charles Gardner. We also have a representative from our Congressman Elliot Engel's office, Ken Switzer's with us. We also have one of the Yonkers residents, Mary Ann DeRosa, who lives in one of the buildings affected by the theft that took place. You know, today I'm here joined with my colleagues in law enforcement to call on the United States Postal Service to address the rash of mailbox thefts that are taking place here in the city of Yonkers and across Westchester County. Since January, there has been over 80 reported incidents of mailbox thefts just in the city of Yonkers alone. That has led to forgery, stolen identities, check washing, and that's just the stuff that's been reported to us, and who knows how many other things that we're not aware of. Yesterday we had another 10 boxes burglarized, including the one right here. Our YPD has determined that close to $700,000 has been withdrawn from bank accounts from Yonkers residents as a result of these thefts. Somebody goes into the bank account, and I'll have the police commissioner explain a little more. They white out the checks, they white out the amounts. Sometimes they just endorse the check and deposit it. But so far, $700,000 has been withdrawn from bank accounts affecting Yonkers. And how do they do this? Well, you know, they're doing it by what they call mailbox phishing. That's just going through the top. We also have maybe the potential that someone has a key, someone has figured out a way to jerry-rig these things open because they have incidents where people are actually opening the door and taking the entire box of mail. Our Postal Service is supposed to be the most trusted system in our country. Yet we are at a point where our residents no longer feel safe, and I, as mayor of Yonkers, have to tell our residents, especially our senior citizens, because most of us use electronic funds transfers, but our seniors really don't. Do not use a mailbox in the city of in Westchester County. Take your mail, bring it to a post office. If not, give it to your letter carrier, at least until we feel confident that this ring of thefts have been that we've been able to solve these matters. No longer do I feel safe to tell people to use those blue boxes. And so I think until they're able to bring this matter under control, I think people should exercise that type of precaution. You don't have to bring your mail, your letter to the blue box. You can give it to the letter carrier. And if not, you can take it to one of the local postal stations. I'd like to ask our police commissioner to come up just to say a few words, and then I'll have Ken say a few words as well. Police Commissioner Charles Gardner.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. You know, as you're aware, the public utilizes the Postal Service to transport and deliver items that contains confidential, personal, and financial information. Unfortunately, as the mayor mentioned, over the last several months, we've been experiencing an increase in mail thefts, including thefts from mail receptacles. These thefts have been occurring not only here in Yonkers, but throughout the region. And the stolen mail has been utilized to defraud multiple victims, and since the beginning of this year, as the mayor mentioned, we received over 80 reported incidents of unlawfully withdrawing funds from various accounts, totaling in excess of $600,000. We've been working closely with the Postal Inspection Service to identify and apprehend those who are responsible for these thefts. We've been conducting surveillance, both physical and video surveillance, directed patrols, and undercover details. And the postal authorities are also in the process of upgrading mailboxes in Yonkers with enhanced security features, including the locking mechanisms, as well as replacing older style mailboxes with high security boxes that prevent mailbox phishing and tampering. You know, our investigators continue to work closely with the postal inspectors, and we have made 3 arrests of individuals who were attempting to steal mail here in Yonkers. And these investigations are ongoing, and we will apprehend those individuals responsible for these thefts. In the meantime, we want to advise our residents, as the mayor said, to put your mail in a local post office facility itself, or give your mail to a postal worker. If you're going to use mail to send checks, use gel-based pens when writing your checks, and also check with your vendor or bank to see if online banking or payment services are available. Again, if anyone observes any suspicious activity around a mail receptacle, please call us at 377-7900, or if it's an emergency, please dial 911. At this point, we're going to turn it over to Ken.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having me today. I'm here to read a statement from the office of Congressman Elliot Engel. This is a very serious issue that must be addressed immediately before more Yonkers residents are the victims of mail theft. Our office has worked in conjunction with Mayor Spano's office and with the Commissioner's office to alert postal officials to the problem. But as is often the case with the post office, the response has been flat-footed and inadequate. Identity theft, check forging, missing medication. These are just some of the problems that our residents are facing, and it cannot stand. We have to address this issue before more residents in our district and in our community become victims of these crimes. This cannot stand, and the post office must take immediate steps to fix this issue, and we will continue to press them until they do so. Thank you.
Just want to note, and I just say thank you to the Congressman, who's always very responsive to us. You know, we have been working with the police, working with the federal government on this for a while now. And the 10 mailboxes just yesterday. And then when word got back that there was going to be a press conference today, there was this talk of fixing the mailboxes and some of the things that they're doing. Clearly, it wasn't on their radar screen up until that point. When one mailbox was compromised, the federal government, the deepest pockets in the land, had the obligation to go and protect the integrity of the U.S. mail. They did not do that. They failed in their job. And here we are now, 79 mailboxes later, begging the federal government to do what they ought to be doing in the first place. And so I'd like to at least ask Yonkers resident Marianne DeRosa if she'd like to say a few words. Mary?
I'm Marianne DeRosa. I represent 2 Sunnyside Drive, Sunnyside Manor. We have 120 residents. We've had all sorts of things happen with our inside outgoing mailbox. Our mail carriers have chosen to take the mail from a secure location and put it on the street. So we were wondering why we were missing so many checks, so many people were late with rent payments, and I, in my case, had undelivered checks. Comes to be that I assumed that my checks probably were in the river. I find out last night that maybe not. Maybe they're just being held by whoever this ring is. The whole point I'm trying to make is we consist of senior citizens, very aged people, who in this computer tech society do not do that. They don't have cell phones. They don't have apps. They have to wait 30 days for the bank to send them a statement to where they see that their check went missing. It's not fair to them. The after effects of all this, the periphery of all this, is Social Security. People get Social Security sent into their checking accounts. If they have to change their checking accounts, forget to call Social Security or go there, they're not getting their Social Security. They may not be getting their pensions. It's not fair to the people. Since the age of the Pony Express, we have been able to trust the government in running the Postal Service. It's not happening anymore. You can't trust it. Something that was sacred is no longer. And it's becoming a very serious problem. We need the Postmaster General to step up, look from the inside out, find out how people got master keys, and then fix it. It's incumbent upon them to do it. It's their job. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. We're also joined, too, with Kelly Chiarella, who's the Director of the Office of the Aging, clearly very much on the top of her list when dealing with our seniors to safeguard them as well. Do you have any questions from anybody? Me or the Commissioner? On topic? Okay.
Yesterday with Mailbox Burglaries, right across the street there's a camera. We do have the suspect for yesterday, so...
We're working with the postal inspectors, and we are reviewing video to determine if we can identify who are the people that stole this mail. That investigation is active and ongoing as we speak.
What has the post office specifically said about the master key related thefts? Because that seems like an internal problem for them. What have they said about those instances?
We're not discounting any possibility in the investigation whether someone may have a device to enter the box. So that's all being as part of the investigation as the postal inspectors end. They would handle the internal component of that. We're working with them on the outside thefts, and again, those investigations are active and ongoing as we speak.
As you mentioned, the 3 arrests that were made, connected to this, but how fast is this ring speed? If half of these arrests still happening on a massive scale?
I have something
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah, you know, it appears that there are multiple individuals engaging in these thefts. So we're looking at all possibilities, but it does not appear to be a single group. It appears to be multiple individuals that are engaging in these thefts, not only here in Yonkers, but throughout the region. And I think you'd like to say something?
I just want to mention that one of our residents had a check actually pilfered, washed, cashed in Massachusetts. We've also had mail picked that was mailed in Stony Point, New York. So this is something that's on the East Coast. What we're doing today is small, it's helpful, but they really need to take a look at this because this is far-reaching.
And as you can imagine, when you have this many thefts and these checks being cashed in multiple locations, we're conducting the follow-up investigations, like going to the bank where it was cashed, reviewing videos. So it's complex. There's a lot of parts to it, but we're actually trying to identify those individuals. We've made some progress, but we still have a lot of work to do.
Do you have any idea how many of these mailboxes we have in Yonkers, and if you're doing anything different than what you've done before?
Yeah. It's my understanding there are approximately 300 mailboxes here in the city of Yonkers, and the post office is in the process of upgrading these to enhanced boxes that have enhanced security features like anti-phishing and other security features and upgraded locks as well. So they're in the process of replacing them at this time.
Any difference in what the way the cops are controlling the streets?
We're conducting, as I mentioned, surveillance, both video, directed patrols, and undercover surveillance. But as you can imagine, there are 300 boxes, so it's kind of difficult to cover them all. But we are working with the postal inspectors in that effort. I don't have an exact number. I'd have to defer to the postal authorities for that, but it's my understanding that they're in the process of upgrading them now. I don't know how many have done. We have 85 reported incidents since the beginning of this year. Yes, that's correct.
It should have been gone. We all know that identity theft is at an all-time high. It's just the way the system is. We know that this is a place where those who want to steal from us can get a lot of personal information, right, from something we always thought was very, very safe and secure. What I'm frustrated about is the fact that, listen, this just didn't start in Yonkers, New York. This is, and if it did, then they should have been on this day one. Day one, they have to protect at all costs the integrity of the U.S. mail, and the fact that they have pretty much left it to the locals to do what we have to do to protect, safeguard not just the 200,000 residents here of Yonkers, but the 300 mailboxes as well, is just unacceptable. And to say that, well, they're upgrading and fixing the machines or doing some changes here, is there a duplicate key? Is this an inside job? I don't know. I don't know, and what I'm frustrated about is that it doesn't seem to be real high on their radar screen. This, people's personal information is being compromised here, and this should be their #1 priority, because if it's not, we don't need them, right? I mean, that should be the #1 priority.
They were spread throughout the city, and not only here in Yonkers, throughout the region as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, this is a serious issue affecting Yonkers and the residents of Yonkers, especially the senior citizens. Can you tell us for how long this has been going on that you know of?
You know, we've noticed an increase over the past several months, but it's not only occurring here in the city of Yonkers, it's occurring throughout the region. But here in Yonkers alone, we have, since January 1, 85 reported incidents of theft of mail. Included in that mail is personal information, confidential information, and financial information, and the thefts of funds being illegally withdrawn from accounts is now in excess of $600,000 in Yonkers alone. So it's a large problem for us. It's very important that we find these individuals. We're working with the postal authorities, and we're going to catch those responsible for doing this. But in the interim, we're asking residents to deposit their mail inside of a postal facility itself. It's more secure, or give your mail to a letter carrier.
Now, Commissioner, 3 arrests have been made, I believe. Do you suspect or think that those people doing this, they are connected in any way? It's like a gang, an organized kind of group doing this?
We're not discounting any possibilities. I would believe that there are multiple individuals involved in the thefts. Some may be connected. The postal inspectors are also looking at whether there's any internal connection to this as well. There's a lot of components to the investigation. Again, you know, when we have a larceny, the check may be washed and cashed in another jurisdiction, so we're going to have to go to that jurisdiction, pull video from the bank or wherever the check was cashed. So it's complicated investigation, but we're hopeful that we will find those responsible in the very near future.
Why do you think that the inspectors, the postal inspectors, have not been on top of this from the beginning?
Well, I don't want to speak for the postal inspectors. I can tell you that we have been working closely with them on investigation of these thefts.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.